Hi, my name is Cthulhu Monster. You can call me Cthulhu or Monster. Last episode, we worked on our mob farm here, and we're going to work on sorting some of the materials for that. And then I think it's time that we get a Drygmy farm. In particular, I want Nexus stars. The Nexus stars? Nether stars? I want to kill some withers. Vanquish them. I don't know what the potatoes had to do with that. Let's see what we get up to today. ATM 10 is full of rabbit holes, so I'm not really sure yet. Let's see. All right, my starter plan is to actually go over here. Ooh, wow, I fly fast now. And I want to sort this armor cabinet here. So we're going to work on apotheosis in particular. Let's see what we can do. I like to remind myself to put all my building things back into storage once the building is complete, because I am terrible at that. I do have 57 buttons. It's fine. I'm sure I needed them at one point. Armor cabinet, apotheosis, let's go. What we're gonna need first is to take some of these gems that we have. Oh my, we definitely need to figure out some sorting here, but that's okay. Then I want to take an anvil. My goal is to throw some of these gems down, and then what you do is you drop an anvil on them. So put it right above, bam, we get gem dust. I got 5. I don't know if that's going to be enough, but let's see. What I want to do is get a salvaging table so we can stop dropping anvils, no matter how fun it is. This will help us for other things. So I just need to get some lava from our storage system there. If anyone has an idea of their favorite tree farm in To the Skies, let me know. I need a tree farm. That could be something we need to do, is actually work on power. We're getting a little bit, hi bats. We're going to be pretty tight on power coming up. Okay, the salvaging table here, and our salvaging table is here. This guy, Badoo. And this way, now when I add these gems in here, I could just salvage them here and get my gem dust instead of dropping the anvil. We've become more efficient already. I think it's been 2 seconds into maybe a minute into the video. I love it. All right. With the armory cabinet here, I am going to use the method I saw in System Collapses video, where we put this into another chest. And I am going to have an interim setup here that we will have to do some modifications to once I have more power. Because my dream goal would be in the spaceship above. And since it's interim, I'm okay using pipes. Pipes, I don't know what their current system is. I know they get some, I'm trying to think of the word for this. They get somewhat of a bad rep on servers at times for lag, but if you're playing solo and you're reasonable within the amount, I don't think there's necessarily too much of an issue there. It comes down to when you're not being reasonable and you're on a server that you run into some issues. Also, we're going to look at our frontier for apotheosis here. We are at +1, so we just need to kill an apothec invader. So I'm going to turn on the machine, and hopefully we'll find one who's strong that we can use. I'm going to turn the tick augmentation on this mob farm on. Oh, there it is. He did not survive. We'll keep an eye on that. But for the meantime, what I need to do is I'm just working on the salvaging. So I'm going to pull from the armor chest. You can see I'm getting stuff filling in here. I do want a void upgrade specifically for chests. So that is going to be the functional storage one. I'm going to go for advanced because I don't know what I'm doing. Say that with affection. It's okay not to know what you're doing. And what I'm going to do is hold on to one piece of everything, but not any extra. The goal. Actually, maybe I should just turn this off for the moment, because I do want to set this up better first. Right? Put a pipe here. I'm pulling from our barrel now. It is already automatically salvaging and working through these pieces. Excellent. Some of these are not going to be available to be salvaged, so I'm hoping that that's why I'm going to match by mod and have that void overflow, where I'll keep one of like the mechanism tool boots in there, but only one. Not perfect, but if you guys have a better answer, let me know. All right, and now that this stuff has things in it, You see it's kind of full. I'm going to put another piece of pipe that just goes over the top and into the system. I'm going to disconnect here, pull from here, and now I have a little regulating dealio. I have some pipe upgrades, so I'm going to add these to here so this can move very fast. Okay, looks like we're good. I'm going to sort this by count because I like to. And now I should be able to pull straight from this. And it should be able to keep up with it. We're at 1,000 here. See, it's coming in and it's already being processed. And if I add this upgrade, you can see that we are draining much faster. So this is my method of doing it. And I know there's others. So let me know your guys' thoughts on this if you have a better one. This is how I'm going to salvage out all of these materials. And it looks like we're already getting some diamonds and things. Be honest. Could have been our person. Okay, and now that we have some of these shards, what we can work on is the next piece. Then if you're me, you really need to make sure that you are not voiding your apotheosis stuff. So I'm just going to match mod that we're going to allow as much apotheosis stuff in there. And I need some stacking upgrades here. All right, I think we can make that smithing template now. Now that I have cooked up some deep slate. It's nice that you get 8 for 1 there. We got 2. Now, with an 8 template, which I have not played vanilla version of this, you make as many as you can. Here's our first one here, and I'm going to make the rest with netherrack. Perfect, we got 64. So now I can do a few upgrades for those netherite upgrades. I really don't want to deal with this storage though. What was I doing here, guys? This was a lot. Let's make some netherite then. And with this netherite, the smithing table template, and then a smithing table, I believe. The next step, I can make these upgrades. I'll also be able to update sieves and all sorts of things. So this is definitely a piece for progression. Yes, but first, my backpack is gold. We need to get this upgraded. This equals netherite backpack. Shinier, better, stronger. Look how many more upgrades we got. All right, let's do this. So you can see this storage is just out of control. You know what? I'm just going to clear this and say, hey, you guys can do... You can void anything. But I do want that apotheosis guy. So we're just going to kind of listen for the next apotheosis guy. Did he live? Oh, he was weak. Weak, I say. Did he live? He lived. Send by Toestorm. The president. Okay, let's go. All right, let's go here. I would like to free the bottom here. The slimes, yeah, you guys are free to go. Thank you for your time. Gosh, I love this game. It's so fun. Oh, no, it's a thunderstorm. Let me attack your toesy, sir. Okay, it's getting down there. Toestorm, you did it. Thank you, Toestorm, for being part of our world. Deeply sorry about the pain and suffering you went through. And Mob Basher back on. Now we can upgrade to the next activated tier. Now we have to slay a wither for the next step. As it flashes. I'm so excited. All right. I'm going to change my stuff back here to invisible and reinforced. Perfect. What do we got in situations of bows? Do we want to run this a little longer to get some better bows? I think so. All right, I'm going to make a quick little platform here for going into the nether. Unfortunately, that means I am going to destroy this piece here. Hi, cows. I don't want to deal with this spawning, so we're going to make a feral torch, feral lamp. Something feral. Lantern. There we are. A feral flare lantern. There we go. Be like, no, we don't need things coming at us. I want to also get into industrial foregoing here and get the latex. It's going to take a long time for us to get this going, so we're going to work with a fluid extractor as well as a tree and then process that into rubber. I think I'm going to put it over in this corner. I'm going to make 4 of these, I think. And our current logs that we have in quantity is going to be spruce. We have a little botany plant, a little botany pot upstairs. Speaking of, I just want to check it out. Yeah, we just have a little botany pot right here, working hard. Right, and I also want to use an item block placer. And Just Dire Things has a pretty simple one for that is called a simple block placer. Can't be stated more simply than that. Right, I just used my bow for that by accident. Oops. That's okay. So let's see here. What I did notice is when you look at the block placer, see that little big square right there? That's where the block will actually be placed. So you want to be careful that you're paying attention there. So this would place it up where it's at. And then if I want this to be placing down where I want it, I might need to have a middle block in here to help guide, to focus on. If I want it to be facing down, I might need to do this so I can actually see the bottom. There's a way to rotate these. I have not figured it out. So do let me know if you have that answer. They could just go from the bottom. Let's do that. And then I'm going to put a drawer next to it, but not that far away, of course. Fill it with spruce. Put this in here and say, hey, I want you to push to the north. That's the north side. So it's filling and it puts the wood here in the real world. Now I'm going to put the fluid extractors on here. And these will be pulling latex. They don't need energy. I believe it tells you energy is optional. I think it speeds up if you have energy though. Right now you can see that these are 4, 6, just a little bit. So we could put a bunch of pipes on this to move things around, or I could try to use something else. I think pipes are fine. I do have my mechanical pipe here, which can help us pull the liquid from here. This will need to go to our latex processor. Processing unit, that's the word. All right, we can put this here. I could use the configurator, or I think I'm able to say, hey, latex, push it to the top. Now this just needs some energy, and I think I can add energy to all of these as well. And as you pull latex, you can see that there's a very mild breaking occurring on the block, which is why I have the block placer in there. I'm just going to power this from the bottom and sneak one up to the top. Put down a little point. Oop, that's not a point. All right, now these guys all have power. They can process. This needs water, so we can pull the sink that we had previously. Not my favorite way to do it because I'm just not a huge fan of the sink as an option. I think it looks aesthetically not as pleasing as I'd like, but we're going to pull water in. Latex is already forming, and then we just need to put this in another drawer. And this is where the output is going to be down, so we'll push down. I believe it's going to need a whole bucket of latex before it'll make one item. And there we go, we got our first dry rubber. I'm going to lock these drawers to make sure I don't accidentally put something else in there. From a linking standpoint, I don't know if it is close enough to link to here. I'm really good about picking just off, so it is not. So this is just independent right now of the network. But we're going to leave this working as it will to get us a good supply of latex for when we do actually get into industrial foregoing. All right, any better bows? Because I made a dispenser out of mine. Hee, bows are looking better. Maybe I need to use a crossbow because mine is having such issues. I do like mobs drops teleporting to me because I will be in the nether. What's the prosperous? Previous wounds. Looting. Yes, please. Okay, we're going to take the looting one, I think. All right. And I'm going to put back this piece here of actually salvaging everything. Especially because we're going to go do some stuff. So I just don't want this to block. I don't want this storage armory cabinet to be the thing that blocks everything. And now we'll see these just filter in. We're getting new materials. Excellent. Let's make a stack upgrade for this piece, which takes a lot less netherite than the backpack ones. Makes sense. If folks know what the sound is for the apotheosis bosses spawning in, let me know, because I would like to mute that for when I'm not here. The other thing we want to get into is Ars Nouveau, because Drygmies are Ars Nouveau creatures. We did get a worn tome, a tattered tome, from somewhere. Honestly, I don't know. And this really can go into a lot of details for things. One of the things we're going to be looking at is source and how we can gather it. But I feel like the quest book does a really good job kind of starting you out there. The Ars quest line can look really intimidating when you first start. It's like, oh boy. But it is very useful. The big thing I found is you do need a book to start it. Unfortunately, you can't just jump to the, you can't just jump forward. So we'll have to pay attention to that. Hi, little guy. How did you get out? Oh, hello. Misunderstood is here. Was that your? Okay. Well, one thing about my mob farm that I have found is children zombies are not necessarily caught by it all the time. So I'm learning. In the meantime, I've died to children too many times. I gotta eat my food. No. What are you doing? You're just crouching there, child, huh? Look at them. They got like everything. Yeah, see? So, children zombies don't seem to be pushed far enough into the murder, into the slaying chamber, we'll call it that. And we get these guys. Do I have the time? Do we need to, we need a mascot, you know? One over here almost murdered me. Did they live? This one has a hat. Oh, I really liked you when you had the other hat. I'm sad. I don't like that hat as much. You see, these guys, for some reason, aren't dying. So I'll have to figure that out. If you guys know why, let me know. We'll make a creature capturing device. All right, creature capturing is from dire things, so like a Pokeball, from my understanding of this. Thank you. What should we name our little creature here? They got shield, they got an ender pearl, they got a hat, they got full gear. I love it. They are a zombie, so they won't grow up and be a villager, but, you know, we'll love them anyway. All right, I do want to get some archwood, so we're just going to use emeralds for that. And the marketplace. It's the purple one that I want. I don't actually have plans to use Ars spells at the moment. If you guys have any ideas of what I should use with them, let me know. All right, so I would like to make an imbuement chamber here so we can make source gems. Gold is a big part of Ars Nouveau, so that's something we'll have to pay attention to. Luckily, we have a lot of materials now. I am wondering, so I did create an elevator here. This little cobble one is an elevator that goes up to the top floor here. And I'm thinking I'll put white concrete in here and give it a spaceship feel, but I was also considering making it kind of feel like a henge feel. These Drygmies are very short creatures, so we don't need to be too tall in here. There we go. So we got a little space in here. I'm looking for a spot for the imbuement chamber. Let's set it here to start. This technically doesn't need source, so what we just need to do is get lapis. So it'll slowly but surely turn. You can see it gets 2 upgrades per tick, it looks like. Per second, maybe? That's the right one. But anyway, slowly but surely it'll work. We're going to use drawers to set this up as automating. All right, so it just turned and I have a source gem. So I can take this, I'm going to put it here. And we'll need 2 of these before we can start on the next piece. The next piece that we're looking for is source. So we're going to use the vitalic source, which can include mob deaths. And this has been something I've been planning because I plan to have it with these guys. With that, I can now make the vitalic source link. But first, I'm going to need melon, apparently. Oops, I didn't think about that. I need to actually break these with something that doesn't have silk touch. Oops. Glistering. There's no N. Glistering. All right. Make one of these. There we go. And I also want to make a source jar. Right? So I'm just gonna put this right on top. And I'll put my source jar also just right on top. Let's see if that looks good. Now that I have this back on, you can see I'm collecting source into that center jar and it's already full. So we're gonna need to move source very fast. So source relays are the next step. There's the generic source relay, and then there's fancier ones like warpers, collectors, depositors, splitters. I'm not positive on all those, but each of this will require us to have more source links. I want to check if there's an ender source jar now. Oh, this is actually very affordable. We may end up doing that because I'd like my source to be stuck in the computer and not out here. There's also an ME source jar which allows us to connect to AE2. So I'm very excited to see what that looks like. The way I can get to that ender source jar is actually going to be using the enchanting apparatus, which is another piece of ours. So I will need to get pedestals for this. I'm going to need 8 of these for our enchanting apparatus. And we'll need an arcane core as well. There's some really great videos on how to use ours out there. I know Bucket does one. So what I'm going to do is put down the arcane core, which I can put down in different directions. Interesting. It's a very pretty block. So I'm just going to surround it with the 8 pedestals. Oop. Excellent. And put my enchanting apparatus on top. I have 2 source jars, so I'm going to put one in here. Oop. First, I need to flip that core. You can put it sideways, but it's not right when it's sideways. That's how dare it. All right, here we go. Oh, it looks like it generates light as well. That's pretty nice. So what I'm going to do is make an ender source jar, and then we'll go fight. Then we'll go to the nether to go get wither skeleton skulls. All right, so it's just ender pearls and popped chorus fruit, and it looks like 4 of each. What I plan to do is stick one up there and stick one down here. Oh, I do love that sound. It's a very pretty, it's a pretty mod. As long as you're not against purple and gold. If you don't like those, well, then it gets a little more difficult. There's nothing to set it up the linking, so I don't think there's going to be an option for me to have multiple locations this go to. It's always going to pull from the same pool. Making source stones can be one of the more annoying pieces. It takes time, so the only options are add source and then have more imbuement chambers. So we're just going to stick with one here, but I'm just going to load it up and leave it while we go do other things. And what we're going to do is grab the deep learner that I have, make a model matrix, I believe. Yep, model framework. And we're going to go get one for wither skeletons. All right, nether portal is lit. And I have my model framework here, so I can go click on a wither skeleton, and we are going to have to kill, I think, 6 of them. Off we go. Ooh, dizzy. I don't like that. All right, we're here, and oh, yeah, we're lucky, I guess. It's right there. Is everyone so lucky with the to the skies? We have our creative flight, so I just need to go touch a wither. All right. Oh, not a wither. That would be worse. We're gonna avoid that guy. Wither skeleton. Hello, guys. Nice to see you. Thank you. Yay! We got it. We're out. I am a wuss. I did not come here to fight fairly. Alright. And now I also want to make some tinted glass from mob grinding utilities. I know it's wither protected, and it makes me feel safe not knowing I have to wonder if what I'm about to do is. But with wither, the big part is you need to make sure that you don't make too small of a space so that when you hit it, it doesn't pop out of the enclosure. I'm gonna do it as 5 because I never remember. And that means my outer walls are actually 7. Just extra high on the height because I don't like to chase down wither. Shockingly, I know. You'd think knowing how I handle the nether, it would be my first and most favorite thing to do. You guys traumatized by playing Bedrock first, and having to deal with the Bedrock wither is just awful. This class is very cool, but it makes it hard to visualize where you are in the box. Let's see if I got any of the matrices done. So far, no. But it's not a great model yet. It's still very basic. Alright, let's go check on our plastic. We got 41 pieces of plastic, so we are getting closer to the marine fisher, which I want because I need fish for the Drygmy charm. It's a very specific type of need that I'm looking for here. Marine fisher here. It is just a simple machine one, so it's not too terrible on the material. So with the marine fisher, I believe I need a 3x3 underneath it. So let's scoot this over one more. All right. There, we got some fish. I only need a few, so I'm just gonna let this run. Let's see if we have any wither skeleton. We do! Excellent. We actually have quite a few. All right, with that, I'm just going to fabricate these as skulls. So each one will give us enough for one wither. All right, let's defeat this wither. I'm just going to do one to start because I just need to defeat them. Okay. Exploded. Of course it did. Hello, buddy. Yay, we did it! And our next tier of apotheosis is done. And we have one nether star. Yay! But yeah, I did realize we probably could have used a stronger weapon. We are literally destroying weapons over there right now. But I forgot. I made another ritual of containment so I can move the brazier a little bit closer. Hello, buddy. Now this is active. I'd like you to fill this jar right here. Thank you. You're beautiful. Now we have a wither in a jar. Look how beautiful they are. My first nether star, I think I want to do upgraded wireless boosters so we can get the actual unlimited ones now. Infinity range booster. Glorious. Our first nether star, well used in my opinion. One of the next step is we're going to need some wilding horns. I made a tribute to the Wilden to summon a pack of Wilden. Here we were able to get some Wilden horns. I also made a framework for these for hostile neural networks, but I haven't used it. With the Wilden horns, I switched my farm to a delightful earth farm, and I was able to get some Drygmy tokens. Using the fish we caught earlier, I then made some Drygmy charms, and we moved on to upgrading the spaceship. And we will put this here. And this is where the Drygmy will be summoned in. It's working on it. I'm so excited. Hi! Welcome to your home. I have a friend for you, I swear. And I have your first friend right here. A wither for you. Yeah. And it looks like, yeah, they'll walk in there and they'll put stuff in the barrel for my memory. But yeah, we have a few more. So I wanted 3 Drygmy. So these guys will all be here. And then I'm going to go get a source jar. My source jar to put in here. Now, how do I think I would need a wand of dominion to link these two. So that's going to be the next part. Can't believe I haven't done that yet. That's one of the more common tools in this is the dominion wand for Ars. All right, which is just Ars, a stick, and some gold. Excellent. Now we have the dominion wand so I can connect the Drygmy to the barrel. It turns out the barrel just needs to be next to the Drygmy henge itself. And unfortunately, the wither is just giving experience, which I'm not quite understanding. So to help my nether star supply, I went and I killed a few more wither and got a model framework. I put together a temporary hostile neural network system here. It is linked to my AE2 and takes too much power. So right now, levers. That's the solution. It's all off. So decorating this was a mixture of my tried and true method of the camo blocks on the simple swappers at the bottom, as well as using AE2 with facades in here. We have a separate AE2 system here, and this will be part of a subnet once we get extended AE2. But we're storing a few things on disks, particularly source and a partition disk drive that includes stuff from the salvaging table. We do have a crafter here making leather and ender pearls from these two, the fragments and scraps that we were seeing build up. Additionally, you can see this is our current storage that looks at both of these. I'm really excited to see we almost have, we have over 600 netherite scrap in here. That's crazy. The collection for items has switched to an ender chest now, and this is being exported into my system. But the main storage that isn't partitioned is still the backpack. And then from the backpack, we're still pulling from the armor cabinet into a barrel that allows 1 stack of everything. It does have another upgrade in here, so that stack is pretty tall. And then the item pipe here goes into the salvaging table, once again imported out. I do have a relay splitter here for the source that comes from the ender jar here and splits it between an ME source jar, which is how I'm importing it into my system here, as well as just a basic source jar for that when the mob farm is off. And I have an exporter also on this so that source can be pulled from the disk drive to make the Drygmy happy. Currently, the Drygmy only have a few buddies. They have an ocelot, a fox, a wolf, and a bee. These are the eggs that I had available that don't have drops, but I do plan to get more entities, but I'm not sure what I need. So for the moment, we're going to pause here. Now could I not love this view from our end? I really like Source. That's looking really cool to be able to see the pink come up. So yes, thank you so much for joining me this episode. We did a lot of cleanup here on the mob farm. This was a fun one, guys. Thank you for taking along, and I'll see you next episode. Bye.